Before we dig into successfully implementing autonomy, let's take a moment to go over some of the common practices and current thinking around autonomy. As stated in the last video, autonomy comes from managers building trust and providing limited freedom to their employees. When we look at autonomy in the workplace, most people think about it in terms of two things: letting people work from home for better work-life balance, and weakening accountability and oversight. The problem with this common and current thinking is that it does not work with most jobs due to operational requirements and the nature of the work itself. Even in workplaces where it could work, it's often not properly executed. As we defined in the previous video, autonomy at work is the efforts that organizations make to build trust and responsibility in employees, providing limited freedoms in how they shape their work environment. The most important part to focus on is the limited freedoms. But before we can explain limited freedom, we need to first talk briefly about trust. Managers need to build trust in their employees in order for any type of autonomy to be sustainable. They need to be able to have the confidence that when they're not in the room to monitor them, the employee is willing and able to complete the duties of their job. As much as managers do not want to look over the shoulders of their staff, the staff really do not want managers to do it. Once the managers are able to trust their employees, they can then provide them with the freedoms that are typically associated with autonomy. This can be less direct oversight, more flexibility in their schedules, and the opportunity to work remotely. When an employee is trusted and provided with freedom, they are more likely to feel empowered and perform at their best. This is provided they know what is expected of them, where the limits of the freedom are, and know the consequences of failing to maintain the quality or timely nature of their work. If freedom is just handed to people without trust being formed, and without being made aware of what's expected of them, then we are only setting people up to fail. This can make the resulting response worse than if the employee had not been given the initial freedom in the first place. Let's look at an example. Derek is Lynn's manager. Derek, the owner of an accounting firm, has been reading about companies having more success by providing more autonomy at work. So he decided to give it a try. Derek told Lynn, a junior associate, that she could have more autonomy and make her own schedule to work with clients and submit her work. Lynn was very excited about this new change, and she would take the opportunity to sleep in the mornings and do most of her work late mornings to early evenings. She would usually reply to Derek's emails mid-afternoon and meet with clients in the early evening after most of them were done their work, which they seemed to enjoy. Lynn ended up accomplishing far more work because she was able to work when she was most productive rather than just during normal working hours. At first, this seemed like it would be a great setup, but soon Derek started to get annoyed that Lynn would take so long to reply to his emails and phone calls, and he had no idea if she was meeting with clients for as long as she should. He started to grumble that he was paying her to sleep in and do the bare minimum. This is when problems started to happen. Lynn didn't feel confident about what Derek expected of her, since the initial instructions were just to complete her work. Derek wasn't sure he could trust Lynn to do her work with clients in the way that she was supposed to. This led Derek to start double-checking all of Lynn's work and following up with her clients just to make sure she was working like she was supposed to. When Lynn found out, she started to get mad that Derek didn't trust her, which led her to stop working the extra hours with clients as she had been doing. This caused clients to be less happy, which got back to Derek. Derek ended the remote working experiment, and he started to micromanage Lynn, who became very demotivated by the whole ordeal. Many problems with building autonomy are that when there is an opportunity to provide more freedom in people's jobs, the steps that are needed to make sure that everyone is trusted, prepared, and reliable are often overlooked. Let's recap. The common way we think about autonomy is through reducing oversight or letting people work from home. While these are common examples of what autonomy can provide, not every workplace can accommodate these types of independence. Even those who can, unless they can trust their people, any freedom they provide will be unsustainable.